Good morning, optimists and guests. Welcome to the 95th Annual Optimist International Convention. Would you please welcome the immediate past president of Optimist International, Jack Creswell.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happens every time. Come on. Let's just pretend that we're awake. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Knew you could do it. Next time we're going to do it the first time. Hey, it is my honor and privilege to introduce to you the presiding chairman of this year's convention. Will you please rise and welcome International President J.C. St. Onge. That's why I put my glasses on. Mr. President, I would like to present to you the official gavel to be used at the presiding over of this 95th convention of Optimist International. JC, congratulations. Bonne chance.
Merci beaucoup. C'est apprécié. At this time, I would like to call the first business session to order. And now I invite the Governor of the Ohio District, Mr. Joe Maddon, to the lectern.
Okay, welcome to the 95th Annual Optimist International Convention. As Governor of the Great Ohio District, your host for this convention, I invite you to venture out and enjoy the city of Cincinnati. In addition to taking advantage of the excellent training here and the business that we'll be conducting, be sure to experience the fine restaurants, entertainment venues, and historical sites that are Cincinnati. Get your tickets to see the Reds at the Great American Ballpark this evening. However, if you are from Seattle, you need not attend. Finish your experience by attending the Chili Fest on Saturday evening. So, learn much, have fun, and come back soon.
Thank you, Governor Joe. In November, I had the opportunity of listening to our guest speaker this morning, Mr. Paul Hindelang. Try and say that without messing it up. Ain't easy. Paul was at the Northeast Region Parallel District Conference in Toronto. I was so impressed by the message that he gave the people who were there. I asked him to join us in Cincinnati and to convey to you an optimistic message. Paul is a writer. Paul is a speaker. He's a trainer, and he's also a coach. And also, we need to know he's an optimist talking to optimists. Please welcome Paul Hindelang.
Good morning, optimists. Thank you, JC. I was looking at the notes, prepared script and the schedule, and in there it says the motivational speaker, Paul Hindelang, to speak for 45 minutes. And I thought to myself, if I spoke for 45 minutes, I'm not sure that you would be optimists. So I would like to pick up on JC's comment about the Parallel Conference. It was a wonderful conference, and there were 6 of the districts represented, and each of those district governors had their message. And what we tried to do was link them all together to promise yourself to leave a legacy. And saving you from the repeat of that presentation, I have put together some new notes that I'd like to share with you today that continues that theme of promising yourself to leave a legacy, but adds a little twist to it. When I thought of Cincinnati, one of the first things that came to mind was Norman Vincent Peale. And you may recognize that name. He was the author of The Power of Positive Thinking. Then I looked into some of the notes on the Cincinnati area, and I found that the Queen City, Cincinnati, actually had Optimist Club way back in 1895, even before the Optimist International was formed. And the records indicate the club was involved in city beautification programs, various welfare charity projects, as well as youth programs. So there's a great tradition here in Cincinnati that fosters optimism as we know it. And then I noted also in the writing that it was in 1937 the last convention was here, so it's high time that the optimism is brought back to Cincinnati after 76 years. So welcome again, and thanks for being in Cincinnati. Norman Vincent Peale was raised just up the road about 6 miles on Spencer Street in Cincinnati. And as a preacher, he was very, very successful. He spent 54 years preaching from the Marlboro Collegiate Church in New York, and also on a broadcast by NBC. And his sermons were so revered for the reason that they were simple and optimistic. Remember, simple and optimistic. The folks in this hall already have the hardest part. That's the optimism. Dr. Peale, he lived to be 95 years old, and his books and his foundation and a magazine called Guideposts, which published 5 million annual subscriptions, continues on today. And then I looked at the agenda and I said, this is the 95th Optimist International Convention, 95 years. Maybe there's a tie-out. It's been a well-lived time for Optimist International in their 95 years. But just like Norman Vincent Peale's positive thinking messages, the work of Optimism International must carry on, and it must flourish, and it must grow. And the people in this room are in charge of that mission. It's serious work. More needs to be done to make an impact. The power of optimism, your community, your country needs you, optimists. It really needs you today. Let's be frank, there are opposing forces to your efforts, and there are negative people in your life. There's trauma and drama. You read and hear about it every day. There are disappointments. You find your friends and families, illnesses, financial challenges, the business and political community. All of this can really drag you down. There's your own self-doubt. Sometimes your lack of confidence that any change can really be effected, not only in our nation, but the world and with children. Your worry of whether you have the knowledge or the skills to do so, these can really drag you down. But when faced with life experiences, the power of optimism is that power that confronts them and shows the world that all things are possible. And you bring out the best. Wouldn't it be great if everyone had this power that the optimists hold? You, the optimists, are really living the dream. Others wish they could. Ladies and gentlemen, these are powers that you have, everyone wishes they possessed. There's nearly 3,000 clubs with 90,000 members that are changing people's lives. This is the power of optimism. We are living in a declining era of personal communication. The skills are declining on a moment-by-moment basis. People are not much different from the past, but we are being culturally adapted to new technologies, to new machines, to robots, to videos, to smartphones. All of these are fostering a growth of remoteness. Face-to-face communication is being avoided. If you ever try calling someone, it used to be that only the young people avoided the calls. Now everyone does. Often people will only respond to your text message. In a fast-paced world, there is greater need today than ever before for personal communications. Time is too short, people say, but it is not the hours that you put into life, it's the life that you put into your hours. Living optimism is a top priority. You help yourself by helping others. We need to spread that out further and further and further. All of the people that have impacted my life have not impacted me through technology, through their machines, but they've done so in a personal way. Don't get me wrong, I'm an engineer, and I believe in the full use of technology. But I also understand the balance between personal and technical communication. We can use technology, but it is not a substitute for personal communications power. As leaders and optimists, you are already building better, expanded lives through good personal communication. For example, the weekly meeting. It's really only an hour, but it halts all computer connections and telephone connections, and it gives you a chance for conversation, for communication, for compassion, for celebration, encouragement, spirit, and joy. It's the power of optimism at work. The community projects in each club often benefit and are organized and promoted and managed with technology. But the real project work gets done through the meeting and the greeting and the encouraging fellow members and the youth and others that you meet to be their very best, to achieve something, to grow bigger than they are today. In the community work, the optimist shows that real leadership skill is in the personal, face-to-face negotiation, face-to-face engagement, planning, sharing of ideas, encouraging hopes, and picturing dreams, helping people to see bigger than the vision that they hold today. Each of these requires actions that transcend technology. They need human-to-human communication. They need a transfer of personal energy, hope, the power of optimism. When folks join a club or a team, they are usually filled with excitement and they're anxious to be part of the action. They want to know how they can get involved. It seems easy just to tell them, follow the script, do this or that project the way we did it last year. True personal communication takes much more than that. An inspired optimist leader doesn't just express how to do things, but they communicate from the heart. Why do we do it? And it's the why we do it that clarifies what we do and then drives how to do it. When an optimist leader can explain what joy it brings to see some underprivileged children enjoy a Christmas party, or to see a youth helped with their education scholarship or improve their speaking skill, or get safety in their neighborhood, or how a community park was a blessing for everyone in the community, these are the reasons why optimism exists. These reasons why illustrate what optimism and optimists really do. You are spreading a philosophy of life, and you're changing people's lives for the better. That and this why and this what make a how-to worthwhile. The effort requires the power of direct communication of optimism. 30 years ago, this month, I started my company in training and consulting. I was attending my first convention at a leadership training company where I was purchasing materials and programs to use in my services. And one of the leaders of that company was a very great recruiter and a motivator of people. And he successfully had built that company, and I had a chance to visit with him on the side, and I asked him what the secret to success was. I was just starting out, and I surely wanted the shortcut because I, too, wanted fame and fortune. He said to me, "Just remember, Paul, everyone wants someone to believe in, something to believe in, and someone to believe in them." Let me repeat that. Everyone wants someone to believe in, something to believe in, and someone to believe in them. Maybe the biggest challenge that faces the power of optimism is really captured in that secret message given me that day. I'm talking about trust. I'm talking trust is the single most important factor in a personal relationship. People are crying out for someone and something to trust. Trust is the feeling we can depend on another person. It is built on one personal interaction at a time, and it's built over an extended period of time. Trust can be destroyed instantly with only one bad encounter, whether it's personal or through technology. Trust and mutual respect go hand in hand. With both trust and respect, it is possible to move quickly and be motivated because you believe that your best interests are being served. Trust maximizes the energy and the joy of the group. Think about it. Trust is earned through personal communication. As an optimist, you are someone to believe in. You're a good example. As an optimist, you have something to believe in, a philosophy that changes lives for the better. And as an optimist, you can be that someone who believes in a fellow member, a youth, or any other person you meet. The secret I pass to you today for your power in optimism is to remember everyone wants someone to believe in, something to believe in, and someone to believe in them. Personal communication makes you someone to trust. I did a little research on the word optimism, and I found a British researcher presented some findings on her testing of people's brains to locate the source of optimism. This analysis showed a phenomenon of what they called the optimism bias. They found that there is a certain location in the part of the brain that actually produces and reacts to inputs with an optimistic bias. There's another location in the part of the brain that produces and reacts with a pessimistic bias. Findings show that the optimistic center is about 3 to 5 times larger and stronger than the pessimistic center. This strength causes us to naturally, most often, deliver a natural optimistic bias, a tendency towards hope, achievement, survival. To look at it simply, since the optimistic center is already 3 to 5 times stronger, it needs to be fed with only a little bit of positive thought to overcome the pessimistic center. In comparison, it takes a large amount, a whole lot of negativity into the pessimistic center to drag down the optimistic center. The fact is, folks, that we feel about ourselves, we feel about life in response to the way we think. We tend to get what we think about. But we can choose what we think about, and we can help others choose the power of optimism. Optimism bias also helps your health. It has been shown in countless studies that people with serious diseases live longer, live a little easier, with less pain and less stress when they are positive and optimistic. They are hopeful and accepting and more peaceful. Pessimistic thinking can keep you sicker longer. Avoid it. Optimism bias also helps overcome the realists. Often you run into the person who can't stand a cheery disposition. They claim that you should be more realistic. Unfortunately, study shows that being realistic does not bring out the best in people. See, being realistic really causes one to worry, to create obstacles in their mind, to then only cautiously approach their assignment. They lack self-confidence. Self-confidence is not something that people are born with. Self-confidence is acquired. You get it by being encouraged to bring out your best game. Optimism bias acts also as a self-fulfilling prophecy. Remember, you become what you think about. You picture greatness first, and then you move forwards. Think about how you coach or motivate a child or a youth. You picture the dream. You give them the vision of hope, of possibility thinking. And it's with that positive expectation for the goal that they have in mind. This is the power of optimism. It is a hidden force that then helps that person fulfill the goal. Optimism also delays old age from settling in. Found this quote, "When I was younger, I used to be highly optimistic about the things in life. I felt it helped me deal with issues in a good way, and it was the right attitude to have. But then, once I got older, I felt that the time had come to be a realist. There were times when I felt that optimism was for the naive and the young. But then I realized, as I got even older, that optimism made my days brighter and better, and I concluded that perhaps optimism is truly the way forward and maybe only a teaspoon of caution to back it up." Optimism keeps you young, engaged, and attentive. Optimism, folks, is powerful, and you need to give it to yourself every day. Each day is a new day, and the optimistic center needs to be fed its positive thoughts. It needs fresh hope, budding enthusiasm. It needs possibility thinking. Unless it is rejuvenated, it will shrink. It will become weak and eventually unable to overcome the pessimistic center. Please do something every day to nurture your optimistic center. It is your power plant for the light and the hope that you represent. Give optimism to your club. There's someone in your club today that needs you to reach out in optimism and be the encourager. Recognize them, cheer them on, find a way to help them, and in turn, help them help someone else. It takes just a little bit of personal communication. Experts have shown it's not the words that matter. Only 7% impact is made by your words. 38% on the way you say those words, and 55% of your impact is the presence, the nonverbal communication that occurs when you're delivering the message. It isn't what you say to people, but it's how you say it and how you feel about it that makes you effective and powerful. That's why optimists win. Give optimism to the youth in the community and everywhere you see a young person. Young people face a real challenge, and they need optimism more than anything. They see very upsetting things in their sports heroes, in their movie stars, in the political leaders, in our society in general. This is where they are looking. They need the power of optimism to redirect their focus towards the good that can be done with volunteerism, scholarship, leadership training, and community improvement. If the youth are left alone, their pessimistic centers will grow way too large. They need their daily fill-up of their optimistic centers just like you do. By reaching out with programs and junior clubs today, you give them optimism today, and you create a whole group of new optimists for tomorrow. Tomorrow. Tomorrow, tomorrow. Let me wrap up with a focus on tomorrow for the future. This year, 2013, is your 95th Optimist Convention. Many of you in attendance will be in attendance at your 100th convention in just a few years. Some of you will even be at the 125th convention in only 30 years. In either case, the power of optimism, the strength of optimism, and the future of optimism is in your hands, the people in this room. Can you dream about growing from 90,000 strong to 100,000 strong membership by the 100th year, just 5 years away? Certainly it is a challenge, but it's a very doable dream. And if you get good at growing and spreading optimism, maybe you can add just another 4,000 members a year for 25 years, and you will have 200,000 members at the 125th convention. Records show that this fine organization had 175,000 members way back in the early 90s. This organization, Optimist International, can certainly grow back to its former size and beyond that level. It is your future. Can you see it? Can you dream it? I encourage you to dream it and then please do it. Our world needs the power of optimism to become stronger and stronger and stronger, 5 to 10 times stronger than the pessimists and the realists. What could motivate you to pursue this dream? I don't know what motivates you, and I do know, though, after a career of training and consulting and coaching, that you cannot motivate people from the outside. You must be self-motivated. Motivation has two parts, the motive and the action. The motive, the benefit, the purpose, the reason has to be bigger and stronger than the cost and the effort and the risk involved. You will only pursue your dream when you believe that the benefits outweigh the costs. You will then do whatever is necessary to achieve the goal. You cannot push a fellow club member or a community youth and motivate them. You must show them the why. What is